the sun and the moon.
Okay.
They both played a huge part in my own journey over the last 12 months in my own research. And I'll start with the sun. I can't remember what triggered this, but I ended up looking really closely at images from Egypt and other ancient cultures where we're told that they are sun worshipping. And I kind of just looked at these images more objectively and with a fresh eye.
Sure.
And to me, they didn't, for the first time I looked at them and saw that they didn't seem active. Rather, they looked passive. And by that I mean, it didn't seem like worshipping the sun, it seemed like receiving from the sun.
Exactly.
So in my research it led to coming across the practice of sun gazing. And so I started doing sun gazing.
Yeah.
And I was only doing it for a week when I was sitting there one morning and just had knowing. That's all I can explain it. The first knowing was that the true Trinity is the Father, Son, Mother Earth, and us.
Exactly.
And that had been distorted.
Yes, it has.
To take not only our power away from us, but Mother Earth's. The second was that the symbology of the sun has also been kind of hijacked, I guess, by the powers that be. They appear to worship the sun themselves. It's in all of their symbols.
Yeah.
So that we come to that very basic conclusion, well, they worship it, therefore it's bad, let's turn away.
Yeah, it's a reverse psychological operation happening on the planet to turn people away from the sun.
And when I realised that, I thought of you know, we all wear sunglasses.
Yeah.
We all cover ourselves in sunscreen.
Yeah.
We have got our slip, slop, slap program here in Australia that's been running for a long time, and it's all to prevent us from receiving the sun's energy physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Because when I look at it in the mornings, doing that sun gazing, you can feel, without actually having, how can I put it, thoughts that you can articulate, but it feels like wisdom is kind of coming in somewhere in the back of your head and just starting to infiltrate. And then during the course of the day or over the course of days, you start to just come to nice little realisations on your own.
Well, see, that's the beauty of it, and that's what I've said all along. People already know this, and people will reawaken to this for themselves, and you're a prime example of that. You know, you're not regurgitating what other people have said, you're just sharing an experience that you had, which confirms, you know, things that people like myself and others are actually saying about the construct of life here, that our essence flows in from the core of the sun to the core of the earth, and then to our incarnational constructs, and that's our umbilical cord. But we're not going back up that path, you know, that's not, you know, externalising, it's just the flow of the construct here. But what we're becoming is so much more than that, and, you know, but the connection, to have that connection with Father, Son and Mother Earth is imperative if you wish to take the organic path to ascension. That's what it comes down to. And all these other concepts and modalities and philosophies are designed to turn us away from that knowing, to steer us away from that, to some other avenue, whatever each entity behind each philosophical construct wants to draw you to that one, or draw you into that one, or draw you into that one.
So really, to be here and really participate in this ascension process, it feels like you don't need anything more than what you get from the sun and connecting with Mother Earth, listening to in here.
And being yourself.
And that's it.
And that's it. It is really that simple. Just be you. Yeah. Because to be you means just to continue down your path, to flow in your own river of life. Because if they need to go and sit on a park bench and get drunk for the next month, then that's good for them. That's what they needed to rebalance themselves. Now, you know, a white lighter from the false light will say, well, that's just stupid to recommend that. That's totally going against it. You should be meditating and bringing in the light, and, you know, that's creating an imbalance in that person. They need that charge to rebalance themselves.
I've actually noticed those cycles in my own life where I go through periods of eating really well, sleeping really well, doing all the right things. I'm doing the right thing, drinking properly, and then I'll go through an equally unbalanced period where there's too much wine and not the right.
Too many chalky biscuits.
Too much chocolate. Yeah. And these definite cycles. I can see them now.
Yeah.
They're becoming really, really obvious.
And you become aware of your patterns, your own cycles. And it's so important not to beat yourself up.
No, I'm not anymore.
But we tend to do that. I've done it in the past. And when people drink too much or have too many touched chocolate or whatever, whatever it is, they end up beating themselves up and they end up becoming their own worst enemy. And it's important because that just creates that big divide. Just go, okay, I did that. Let's just move on and learn from it. Let's not go there again. Yeah. And or I'm just going to keep doing this till one day I'm actually going to learn the lesson. And the next time you do it, you feel even worse. And the next time you do it, you feel even worse. Then one day the penny drops and you go, oh, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this after all because the message you finally got came through. And, we're a bit thick-headed down here and it takes a while, because our bodies are talking to us all the time and we don't listen to our bodies as much as we should. But anyway, we get there in the end.
It feels to me like there's periods of not doing so much the right thing for myself. Are actually processes of grounding. Because I do the right things and sort of I get up and I've got to ground myself again. And then I grow and then I've got to ground myself again. That's how it feels. When I first started researching the moon, I came across a book called Penetration, which was by Ingo Swann, the founder of remote viewing.
Yeah.
And he talked about in that book an experience of remote viewing the moon and finding that it was inhabited, for one, with humans, non-humans, lots of machinery. There was a lot of work going on there. And he came to the conclusion that it was man-made or artificial.
Yeah, it's an artificial satellite. Yeah.
And then David Icke came out with his book. His recent one, The Lion Sleeps No More. And he dedicates quite a bit of that to the moon. And he talks about the fact that it is, again, artificial, that it was placed specifically where it's been placed in our orbit, but it goes way beyond that, that it's the base of operations for the dark agenda, and that they, locally, and that they are literally broadcasting this mind matrix.
Which is what I said in March of 2009.
Right.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Now
wholeheartedly.
And I'm looking at the
because I've been there and
I've
seen it. I've been there and I've seen it.
So where I found your version of the moon and his version of the moon varied, although identical up to that point, was that he believed it was completely artificial, and I guess controlled by, owned, run and controlled by the elite, the dark.
Well, the elite go there for holidays.
Yeah.
Since 52, even before then, but of late. Another more levels of the elite go there since 1952 when Truman was taken there and indoctrinated into the Dark Brotherhood.
What? As president, when he was president?
Oh, well,
that
towards
the
end.
That, wasn't it?
Oh, it was at the end.
At the end. So, why him? Why not people, the presidents before?
Well, it's like a reward.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Think of it as a reward. That's probably the best way to put it.
So have all the presidents since known?
Some. Yeah, they got... Because they allowed more members of the ruling elite to go there for holidays, it then creates a more precarious situation. More people end up knowing about it, more gets leaked, and so they just tighten the reins a little bit here and there. But yeah, still some people are going there on a regular basis.
So where you vary from David is the origins of it.
Oh, the origins of the moon. Oh, okay, because I haven't read David's book. I've seen an interview with him speaking of the moon, and I just agree with everything he said. I think it's wonderful that he understands what the moon is about as well. I think we parallel in a lot of things, yeah.
But I tend to resonate with your story of its origins because it does explain, as a woman, my connection to it.
Yeah, the connection that we have with the moon is so deep, and if people were to understand the origins of it, it makes a difference. Because if it was totally an artificial construct from day one by the Draconian empires, then we wouldn't have the connection with it that we do.
And the fact that we have one is undeniable.
It was originally a Pleiadian craft used to seed life, and it was used to seed a lot of life here. That's why they wanted that craft, because they knew that placing that around the Earth had a better connection with all of life here, and that is the greatest mechanical tool they could use to manipulate this reality than anything else.
So they didn't build it, they stole it.
They stole it. It had its own atmosphere, its own ecosystem. It was just a planetoid, which was a beacon in, it was an absolute beacon in a craft that was used to seed life. A beacon in the fleet of beings of the light. It was amazing. Everyone loved that craft. There's so much energy at one stage. So when that got lost, when that was lost in the war to defend Earth against these empires, the pain was horrendous, and we still carry a lot of that pain in our memories. The yearning and the pain we have for the moon is horrendous on very, very, very deep subconscious levels. Yeah, the history of who and what the moon is such an amazing story. I would love to make a movie about it. It would really touch a lot of people, making a movie about that subject.
So it started off as this beautiful place.
Yeah.
And got turned into the Death Star.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. So George Lucas had it mostly right, except for the part where they created the Death Star themselves. No, they didn't. They got it and they trashed it, because the life force just was gone with the crystals that were helping to drive it, and all the beings from the ethers that were involved, and the higher realms of the fourth dimensional planes behind the scenes that were involved in the creation of life via this vessel was so profound. And the fact that it was used to seed Earth, which is the melting pot of the universe. So at one stage, there was more energetic patterns running through that vehicle than anything else in the universe. Did we walk on the moon? Yes, we did. Did we go there on our own accord? Nope. It was a contract, it was a deal that was done behind the scenes, and they were taken there in craft and placed there, and when it came time to go, they were brought back. Anyone with half a brain really could just look at the technology they were using and would know that there is absolutely impossible for a little tin can like that to make the journey through the Van Allen radiation belt and the spacesuits that they used, and it's just a joke.
How should we feel about the moon now? I mean, because people, including myself, feel a number of emotions. Sad at what's happened to the moon.
Yeah.
Not wanting to be controlled by the moon. So kind of
Anymore.
turning my back on the moon, and yet sad at doing that as well. Can we consciously choose to opt out of this moon-led matrix?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. And the way I approach the moon now is I look at it as an old friend who has played the devil's advocate for me, because that's what it's designed to do. Ultimately, from much higher levels of the universe, when you understand the role the moon has played, it was always destined to do this from the day it was created. This was its journey all along, just like us. I mean, any person who creates a life here, well, the moon has a life's journey as well. And so it was always destined to play this role here. And so it served us immeasurably. You can't put words to the role, to how it's served you and me and everybody here. Because without the moon, we would never have this construct of duality we have here.
So as the sun is a being, and Earth is a being, the moon is not.
Everything is consciousness. The moon was a living, breathing being which died on that level of consciousness. It died. And it's now an empty vessel which has been possessed. Imagine someone dying and then their body actually being possessed by another spirit, and that person no longer in that body. And then that person looking really awful and sickly because they trashed the moon once they got a hold of it. The life force was no longer there. They smothered it with silica, and and that's the majority of its out external coatings, just silica. All the internal walls, the infrastructure inside is all silica. When you walk around in there, it's like all wavy sort of bathroom walls. I mean, when you look through a bathroom window, they're translucent, but they're not transparent, you know. So there's a lot of that construct inside of it when I was walking through the corridors there. And anyone else who's been up there will attest to that. And
there were some photos just in the last couple of weeks that NASA released. Very clear, very up close photos of the moon.
Oh, is that right?
That people believe is evidence of the fact that it is not a natural phenomenon. It's too perfect. The nature has imperfections in it, and there just aren't any in the sense of nature's imperfections. It's a very round, smooth surface with impact points that only penetrate a certain way, a certain depth, and no further.
They don't go beyond, no.
And when you look at these images, it looks like a golf ball with its little dimples.
Yeah.
These dimples would be the aftermath of the war that was fought to take.
Yeah, some asteroid, but majority of the aftermath, the battles, yes. And there's remnants of structures on there that have been broken due to of the war that took place, of the battles. It was quite a vicious battle. Yeah, it's exactly like a Star Wars type scenario. I mean, this isn't science fiction, this is science fact. This is, someone once said...
knew somebody who knew somebody by the sounds
a person of great wisdom once said, I don't know where this originated from, but truth is stranger than fiction, and it truly is. But the story of the moon, that's a big one. I mean, the more people can remember that one, it really affects us deeply, because the moon has been that one instrument that has challenged us the whole way. It's played the devil's advocate for us through this whole journey here on Earth. It's played the devil's advocate for Mother Earth and Father Sun. It really is an incredible instrument. Now, the other important thing to understand about the moon is that the beings that live in the moon, that is now their home. And I've had meetings with them in the past 12 months, and it's important that people understand that they need to stay there, because they cannot live anywhere else. The vibration of the moon now is their home. If they go anywhere else, they will just perish.
Where are these people from?
Some came from Mars, and others have just been their lineage goes way back to the Draconian empires and reptilian empires. But they've been on there for a very long time. They've been in other craft prior to going to the moon, but now the moon is their home. And so that the moon will never become, well, not in the near eons or epochs or eras. I don't know how far down the track, if it does change at all, but for the next few epochs and eras of time, these beings will be living on the moon. And
so
it needs to be taken away from here, so Mother Earth can then expand and become a being of light.
It has to move
Literally, it will be taken away from here. And when it does, the pull we're all going to feel from in here is going to be amazing, and women will feel it a lot more than men.
Well, apparently when it was placed there, it was cataclysmic.
It was.
On Earth.
If you look into the Egyptian hieroglyphs, there is no moon in the hieroglyphs. People will say, don't be stupid, you can pick up any book on Egypt, and they'll go, that hieroglyph represents the moon. It's actually a celestial boat. And people say, oh, it's in the shape of a crescent, that's the moon. Because they've got to make it fit, right? But in truth, there is no hieroglyph of the moon.
Well, I know from reading David Oak's book that the Africans have stories and legends about the time before the moon.
Exactly. In the Bible, and I forgot the verse, but I've got it written at home, I've got the actual wording of the Hebrew, and then the translation. And the translation says, thou shalt be feared at the time, by the time of the sun and the time of the moon. You go back, and then thou shalt be feared at the time of the sun and the time before the moon. Right? So in the actual original Bible, it talks about the time before the moon. Okay? So if scientists dare to really, realistically look at the tidal marks in the geological records, they will see, right, according to my knowing and my feelings and my understandings, and many others, not just me, right? I'm just sharing with you my perspective here, and it's not the only one that has this perspective, is that around 6,000 years ago is when the tidal marks began. And I mean tidal marks, not wind pushing water up onto the shores. I mean realistic tidal marks. And they'll find that they go back as far as 6,000 years.
But when the Earth is removed...
Hang on. The other point I want to make is, why is it that all our major religions on the planet say that life began 6,000 years ago?
Yeah, right.
That God created life 6,000 years ago. Just an interesting little tidbit for you. I said a long time ago when I drew the whole cycle of the precession of the equinoxes, and I said it's in the last quarter that life really, that the beings were allowed to come here. And this is another piece of information I'm sharing that comes from my aspect as a galactic, in the Galactic Council, is we allowed them, and I said that in the grand journey in the grand dissection. I said, we will let you come here and do this. Okay? And me, you, and all us others who are here from the light, we let them come here and do this to this reality. We let you come here. That's the message I have for all these beings out there. This is what I tell them when I have meetings with them on the moon. Don't forget our agreement. We let you come here to do this. Don't forget that.
Why?
Now it's time for you to go.
Did we let them just purely for the experience of extreme duality?
Creating. They were the ones that we knew would create the reality and the environment that was needed for us then to incarnate and create the reality and have the experiences we needed to rebalance our souls in order to ascend.
So whenever they get cocky, you put them back in their place? We
put them back in their place. Because I'm doing it here, George shooting his mouth off, but you're doing it from other avenues, behind the scenes, at night, whatever. We're all doing it together. But they need a little reminder. Yeah. You need a reminder. We let you come here and do this, and I truly mean it from the heart, and you need to remember. You need to remember that agreement, because that's a forgotten agreement. You've become addicted to this reality. That's the lure and the trap. You've been seduced by your own creation. So just be careful and remember.
But they all know this is coming to an end too, don't they?
They do. The beings in the moon know. Fully aware. They need to maintain the integrity of the matrix to a certain degree. It's universal law.
But
and people say, hang on, how can you maintain the suffering? The imprisonment, and then I'll go off on all these tangents. So I'm already feeling it. I'm already feeling their reactions. That's why I'm just sorry for holding up to the next question. But I already know what people are going to be, how they're going to be reacting to what I just said. And I'm already feeling it. And so you've got, that's playing the victim. That's not understanding duality from the higher perspective. Okay? All the beings, all the suffering I've suffered in my life is because I wanted to from a higher level. Yeah. I created this life. Okay? So all my pain and suffering is of my own making. All the people that are suffering in the world is of their own making. It's a journey that they wanted to have. It's an experience. So if people wanted to end it right now, like there's a part of me that wanted to end it a long time ago, of course. We want to end the suffering, right? But I don't want to override someone's soul journey. I have no right to do that. I have no right to take away someone's experience from them.
No.
Okay? It's people are suffering because that's what they wanted from a higher level. And if people can't grasp that concept, then they do not understand duality. They are still caught inside the drama of duality, and they have not risen their awareness above it and beyond it. So that's really important.
So I take it from that there is a divine right moment.
Yes.
For this to all.
Yes, there is.
Switch and click over.
Yes, there is. And it's going to happen
no
within the next 2 years.
We don't know when exactly.
I don't know when exactly the moon's going to go. All I can say is it's going to have to happen within the next 2 years.
But is the effects of the moon leaving going to be as cataclysmic as it was when it came here?
Yes. So it'll have to leave after 2012, December 21, 2012. In that 3-month period, it'll be dragged out of here. Or it might be dragged before then. I'm not sure. I don't know exactly, so I can't say. I know some of the things that are going on, but I don't have every little detail. There's still fun in the mystery for me too. I'm not immune from it totally. Okay, the law of attraction is, because I made a statement that we now have the ability to alter the matrix. Now, I went into it briefly, and what I shared was it can only be done when we are, as we are expressing our multidimensional selves, the ability to alter the matrix down here will only come from the higher aspects of ourselves. I can't alter the matrix from George.
No.
I can't alter the matrix from my galactic self. I can't do that either. I can only alter the matrix from my higher self. And the reason is, it's the higher self that is flowing in that river of life. It's the part of me that's totally in harmony and one with the unfoldment of the divine plan. Okay? Here in this reality and anywhere else, as a matter of fact. So as I'm sort of like getting into a higher state of being, in that state you feel your journey, and that's what you can alter. You alter where your path is headed. You can't sit here and go, I want a Ferrari, so I want to alter the matrix so I can manifest a Ferrari. Where's that coming from? You know, that's greed, materialism, ego, you know, that's not. But if you feel that you have a path, like heading down a particular path, like me for example, and I can feel that there's a being that wants to interfere with that path, then I can then feel into my greater being, feel into my journey, and that being has come up, approached me with a resistive, threatening or intimidating whatever, then I will just say, go away, you do not have the power over me. And they just go away because they do not have the power over me. It's that simple. You have the ability to completely remove obstacles from your path. So that's, I'm not saying I'm not going to have any challenges in the future. I'm not saying that. There are some I still need to have from the perspective of my soul. But the ones who feel that they can interfere with your journey and intimidate you and do whatever, those sort of things, you can alter the matrix. You can change your will has the power to override whatever they want to do, because your will is coming from the greater river of life, and has what's behind us is the whole intention of the universal path. Right? And what they're doing is like a man trying to stand on the beach, even like the Illuminati and all that. You know, for them to think that they're going to create a new world order on this planet in the next few years is so ludicrous. Okay? It's like a man standing on a beach while there's this 5-mile high tsunami, and he thinks he can stand there and put his hands out and stop it. I mean, that's the analogy I'm giving you. That's for the energetic and the energies that are pouring into this reality, and the way life is being changed here. For any of these intergalactic cabals even, Illuminatis, whatever, right, GF or whatever, they think they can stop what's happening here, they are totally deluding themselves. Okay, because there's no way. The amount of energy that is behind us and what we have formulated here, nothing is going to stop that. Absolutely nothing. The only way you can use the law of attraction in that way is when it's in conjunction with the river of life. Mm-hmm. And then you get to a point where you don't even have to consciously make anything happen, because you're so flowing in that river and you trust so much in that river. You connected with it and the knowing is so great. The trust is completely there.
Yeah.
You don't have to. I've experienced that at times in my life.
So right.
We fluctuate, we're still fluctuating. I'm still fluctuating between aspects of myself in all these different vibrational realms of myself, okay? So there's times where George still has his little insecurity moments, right? But there's times where I have felt in so much power, in so much knowing and steadfastness that it does, I just go, I won't even bother going. I don't even have to think about altering anything. I'm in complete flow. And I'm just moving forward as I'm sitting in the car and I'm just driving along. It's like I'm flowing in this river of energy and I'm just moving through the matrix, and you become aware of things that are going on around you and something crossing your path. Okay, I've got a message from that, and okay, there's another message, and that person stopped and said this to me. Okay, there was a message there, and it just becomes this interaction with the matrix here that just becomes wow.
The lady in the red dress passes.
Pardon?
The lady in the red dress passes.
It's amazing how much this reality talks to us at any given moment.
You've talked in the past about the fact that you were being manipulated at one point.
Yeah.
What do you say to people who still believe you are being?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah. What I can say is that I've been through so many experiences now, and I've travelled into paradigms that are beyond the realms of manipulation. Mm-hmm. And so manipulation has a particular vibration to it, and they still attempt to manipulate me constantly. They do. They don't let up. I mean, I had an interview with Aaron McCullum, and he and I both suffered from a really, really severe, disorientating headache. Like, we were attacked really hard within an hour after the interview. And I was knocked out for the rest of the day, and so was he. He had other interviews scheduled later that day and couldn't even make it. And so we needed to experience that for whatever reason. There's many. Mm. And there's also, I get artificial thoughts still projected into my mind. The reality is, we all do. We're all in the matrix. So you're having thoughts that aren't yours. Everybody's having thoughts that aren't theirs. There's nobody's immune to it. If someone says that their mind is completely theirs, then they haven't.
Canny that you bring that up.
It's impossible, okay? We're all in the matrix still, and we're still living this matrix, okay? So our minds are not ours yet. We're reclaiming, in the process of reclaiming them. But it's becoming aware of which thoughts that you have are yours and which thoughts aren't yours. And you then get to a place where you constantly dismissing the ones that aren't yours, and you're only placing your attention to the ones that are yours. And then the shift starts to occur, and you get more and more of your mind back.
I'm sorry, I'm blown away that you've just talked about this, because I've just experienced this very thing.
Okay.
In between Christmas and New Year. For 5 of those 7 days, I was in a very strange place. And was off on mental tangents that didn't fit, is the only way I can explain it. They didn't resonate with my body, they didn't. And really went on a journey with them though. And only kind of came out of it about 3 days ago, if that. So I know exactly, when you're talking about this, I know exactly what you're saying. thoughts about my friends and family, about my nearest and dearest, that, not me.
No, you
Not
wouldn't
me.
be having them.
I wouldn't know.
Why would you think that about them?
Of course.
You don't want to be thinking that about them, but there you are. And people say, oh, it's your subconscious, it's this, that. Crap. It is not.
But when
if you know how the matrix operates,
you know how it feels in here.
you do know how it feels.
Yeah.
It has a different flavour, it has a different feeling. I mean, people don't understand the construct of the matrix. They don't know how good it is. Oh, this is genius. We're talking about universal genius here. We're talking about beings who have been manipulating life for eons and eras and epochs of time that are unfathomable. Okay? We're not talking about a couple of hit town extraterrestrials who want to implement something just, you know, a wimpy piece of technology. We're talking about a piece of artificial intelligence which monitors every thought, every feeling, which monitors people's lineage of previous lives, all the interactions they had with all the other people in previous lives, and can flag the events you're having with people in this life where you're sorting out karma, has the ability to amplify emotional reactions way beyond what they need to be, to create the conflict between people, can understand the galactic lineage and the history and the karma you have on a cosmic level.
It's mind-boggling.
Right? Yeah, I know what's going on in the moon. I know the construct of the matrix. Okay? I know what's going on with it. And I'm not saying that from an egotistical sense. To know the extent of the matrix we are in, to know the extent of its construct and how it works. When you're having an interaction with somebody and the extent to which that interaction is being monitored and manipulated on so many levels. Wow. Because they are not creators. They can only manipulate what already exists. So if you have a beef with somebody of a history of nature which is negative, which was, you may have been at war, you know, eons ago somewhere else in the cosmos, and that charge, that energy charge becomes straight to the surface. They know how to get into that, and they know the history of that charge, then they will manipulate it. And there's no one being that is capable of doing that. It is artificial intelligence that runs that. Because to monitor life on all that level, you know, the amount of interactions that are going on, you know, and let alone just your stuff, what about all the contractual energetic streams between races that are going on as well? So, you know, let's expand a bit more, shall we? And then take your link with the natural kingdom, and for them to manipulate the natural kingdom to start bothering you. All your likes and dislikes with the natural kingdom. If you go camping, how can we annoy the shit out of that person, pardon my language, how can we annoy the crap out of that person while they're camping? Let's make their life miserable. They have a phobia of bees. Let's try and manipulate some bees somewhere to get it to come and harass them. Whatever. This is how full on it is, and people don't realise it.
But there's 7 billion people on the planet, Demata. I mean...
Yeah, that's why it's an artificial intelligence that does it. It's a bioorganic computer, and they've got smaller versions of that on the planet. The government's been playing with this too. So they've got their own level of experiment happening with this type of artificial intelligence. And the biggest one on the planet is in Pine Gap. And then they've got smaller versions of it in other places on the planet. And the main computer that runs the whole show on Earth is based in the moon. And it's like a net that goes around the moon and the Earth, like a net. But those beings now, this is all coming to an end, and they know it. And you know, those of us who are working behind the scenes with these beings, they're maintaining the integrity of the matrix, so people's soul journeys are being honoured. And then it's all just, if you have the sight, the foresight to see, you'll start to see holes appearing in the matrix. So it's deconstructing. They're already knowing it's deconstructing. And they're actually not working against that to stop the deconstruction any longer.
It makes, I don't know if I'm being too harsh, but it makes our entire lives feel like a bit of a farce.
No, totally the opposite.
If it can be that manipulated down to that fine of detail.
Yeah. and the food that you eat, the water that you drink, the extent of manipulation in this reality, we're talking the best the universe has to offer. Right? If you want to come, okay, if you want to become, let me put it this way, if you want to become a universal creator, right, and this is graduation time, all possibilities and outcomes have been extended, right, have been experienced, then this is graduation time. You're going to get the best that the universe has to offer thrown at you. And if you get through this, if you can maintain your integrity and get through this process, you've earned your stripes, you deserve to be a creator of light. If you get taken by any false agenda, you're not ready to become a creator of light. Because if you start creating your own universe, the very nature of light being a dualistic expression, a waveform expression, you're in trouble. You can't create a universe that's just going to spiral out of control. It's going to affect all life around you on a universal scale. That's not on.
But that makes you have to ask the question: how much of my story is my story? How much of it is my soul contract, my journey, my natural process, and how much of it is being manipulated? From
a much higher perspective, all of it, because we contracted these beings to come in and do this to us.
Okay then. Alright. That I can deal with.
They're serving us. They're providing the challenge, the resistance. Yeah? For us to work through. The negative charge is the resistance, the dark is the resistance. For us to work through, to move through all those challenges that have been put before us. And you're getting challenged in here. I've been getting challenged in here all my life. All the implants and the drugs and the programs that they've put into me. Here I am, my inner light and consciousness has defeated them one after the other after the other. And I sit here before you stronger than ever. Am I still being manipulated? There's always trying to attempt it. I don't feel that I am. I honestly don't feel that I am. And all I say to people is, see what resonates, see what in the message that I share, the content. Don't judge a person by their cover. You know, look at the content. Don't just look at it, feel the content of what's being said. Does it resonate within you? Use that as the gauge, as you know, the BS meter. Because we've all had incredible journeys. And I get up and I say the things that I do because I've been through it. I've been through the manipulations, and they're still trying, but it's the content of what's being shared.
In our last talk, we did touch a little bit on preparation for the next year or so for political, environmental changes that are likely. And I do believe that people in the US are pretty much in the front line when it's going to come down to what the dark energies are going to try and implement here. And I feel for them. And is there anything more you can elaborate on there in terms of how they can prepare, or what's necessary, what isn't? I know it's going to vary depending on where you are in the world, and even where you are within your country, I guess.
Yeah, it will.
But the most talk about what to do is coming out of the US. So what advice can you give for them?
Yeah, and they feel like they're in the front line because of the energetic patterns that country is processing, expressing and processing and transmuting. And it is Atlantis. It is today.
Something about that I want to hit you with later too.
Okay, it is the modern day Atlantis. That is absolute fact. And they're the energetic patterns that they're processing. Started out as a good idea, good intentions to create a country with freedom and rights for the people and what have you, but it's just gone bad, and needed to do so, because, you know, if you understand the cycles of life that we've been in, each cycle as it gets compressed to a shorter period of time, and then that cycle gets compressed to a shorter period of time, and it's a cycle within a cycle within a cycle, and that's what the main calendar, you know, shows and represents, and the Aztec and the Egyptian and, you know, all the different calendars around the world are showing that same concept, and hence we're on the road to compression as well, and 0 point. So you know, if you had a civilization that represented Atlantis in the cycle before, then what's the energetic pattern in this cycle? And that's the America, United States of America. And so it's a tough gig. Now, what do these people do? Again, like you said, it's where you are in the country, it's which country you're in, and it comes down to your individual journey. How do you go about it? Wow. I would say, follow your inner guidance, and if you feel intuitively the need to stock up on food, then do it. But if you're stocking up on food because you're coming at it from fear, then that's a different approach altogether. You know, if you're going to start putting bars up on your windows and loading yourself up with armaments and things like that, then what are you manifesting?
Exactly.
Some people just trust and believe that they're going to be taken care of and it's going to be all right. They'll always just find a way through whatever situation. They'll be provided for no matter what. So again, it will come down to the individual journey. And all I say is trust your intuitive guidance, because that's what's going to get you through, not a reactive response. Well, it's not a response, it's a reaction from fear and from the mind, you know. I would warn against that. I'd go more intuitively. If you've got this deep gut sense that, intuitive sense that you do need to stock up on armaments, and that's your journey, do it,
I think people also don't want to find themselves in this situation where they feel like they've got no choice but to get on a ship because they haven't prepared, or because they didn't get out in the area, they didn't listen to their intuition and leave a particular area, and now their choices are limited. And that's why I think people
the key to it. I mean, this is why I'm speaking. I come out and speak is because how many options are there out there for people? And for people to understand this other perspective now, it allows them to contemplate their life and their situation and the choices they have. I say the future's already happened. Sure, it has. I mean, it's a movie. It has a script. It has an outcome, right? We're in linear time. Past, present, future. The future's actually already happened. Could I sit back in a cave and do nothing about it? If I wanted to, it doesn't serve my journey. It won't serve my soul to do that. So I've incarnated to play a role in this movie. So I'm playing my role. And what I'm doing is I'm actually honouring down here, because I've talked about ultimately there's no free will, which there isn't ultimately from the moment you entered this universe, because that
got people talking.
Greater aspect of you is what's orchestrated this whole life down here in this universe and all these experiences. Yeah. So that's that concept. But down here we've got the illusion of having free will. So the free will that we have down here needs to be honoured. So by providing this information, it gives people more information to choose from. Therefore, I'm honouring their free will down here as well. So there's that comes into play. It allows people to make a choice from down in here, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah,
I'm speaking in a multidimensional sense now. Yeah. So it could be perceived as though I'm contradicting myself, but I'm not.
No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You touched on earlier America and Atlantean energy. So I wanted to run something by you, which is a belief that I've had for so long that I don't even know where it came from. Okay, and I just want to get your feedback on it. The belief that there was Lemuria first. There was a subculture within Lemuria that wanted to go off and experiment, branch out in a new area. That amicably it was decided that they would need to leave the physical place of Lemuria to do that, and they established Atlantis. That once Atlantis was established, it was then, I guess, infiltrated is the word, by a negative energy, which ultimately led to its destruction and Lemuria's and whatever else was around at the time. And this brings us back to here, which is
but what you just said resonates with me greatly, because that's how realities are formed in the path of descent that we have been on. That's how realities get formed. Because when a reality gets formed with the original idea, then another idea branches off, and then when that vibration is expressed, it attracts beings from the universe according to that vibration, because they weren't attracted to that original vibration.
Right.
They couldn't access that vibration, it was beyond their paradigm. So this expression gets created, that attracts other beings, which then brings that vibration down, then that'll branch off, and then more beings will come in, and that, and that's how all these different paradigms get created on a path to different vibrational patterns.
And now we find ourselves in a situation where the US, as you say, is the kind of reincarnation almost of Atlantis.
It is.
And I believe that Australia is the reincarnation of Lemuria.
Mm-hmm.
And that the two places are very, very connected. And that we are working out the energies of Lemuria.
There are aspects of Lemuria here, but I would say there are very strong aspects of Lemuria also in Africa and in South America. Mm-hmm. Still. And that's
equally to here?
I would say that none are equal to each other. I'll say that different aspects of the Lemurian energetic patterns exist in each of these continents, and they all serve a different purpose. The one that is here has, I would say, some of the originating constructural templates, and they are being activated, reactivated, and being serviced from the vibrational pattern of the land here, simply because in reality the first life forms of recent times, and I'm talking the last few billion years here on Earth, were manifested on the landmass that we call Australia. It wasn't, the birthing of life did not happen in Africa, as many would like you to believe. And you could say, well, you're just supporting your own football side because you are born in Australia. Well, I would challenge any scientist to go to the Flinders Ranges in Australia and take a look at the fossils there, and some already have, and you will find out, like others have, that the fossils there are the oldest on the planet, even older than at the bases of our oceans. It is the oldest landmass. That's why the Australian Aborigines are a culture that is unique to every other culture on the planet. They have 2 extra chromosomes in their DNA. They are uniquely different. And the land here is incredibly ancient indeed, incredibly ancient. And so that's why the patterns that are involved and the beings that are involved with Australia at the moment, and the reason why we have underground base like Pine Gap here, the reason why the ruling elite have now come to Australia as their sanctuary, there's so many different reasons why Australia is the focus behind the scenes of so much of what's going on. When I tell people Australia is what controls the world, or the people that live in Australia actually, they're the hidden behind the scenes people that pull the strings on the planet. They actually live here. And their names, family names that people aren't aware of. Everyone hears the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, and and then behind them you've got the Webb family, Worldwide Wicked Web, hello, there's so many other families, names that people aren't aware of in the public arena, and that's just one. I won't go into too much of that, just being respectful. And there's so many family names that you don't hear about, and these are the ones that really do hold the power. The ones in the public arena aren't the be-all and end-all. They're still really taking orders. So if you've heard about them in the public arena, they're not the real power brokers.
I have heard from several sources that Australia is actually the base of operations, so to speak.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Now, the first interview that we did generated a lot of response. There was a lot of comments on YouTube. I know that we've both received a lot of emails, chat rooms. It's been a little bit overwhelming, and a lot of questions have come out of that for people. So I'd like to start by addressing their questions, if we can.
Sure.
And one of the things that we touched on but didn't really cover off enough was the question of pets and the animal kingdom in general.
Yeah.
A lot of people are very concerned about their pets.
Yeah.
So the fact that these pets, these animals are with us says that they're part of our journey, that we have a relationship. What's going to happen when the time comes?
Well, just like us people, each animal is on its own individual journey too. So there'll be some animals that it is their journey to ascend, and for others it won't be. Now, how that works out, how that plays out, you know, it's up to the individuals. There are some pets that we have that are not of a pure elemental spirit, that are actually family on the galactic level, that have chosen to incarnate via the elemental kingdom and manifest themselves as a pet so they can support us through this journey. So when I found that out, that was really quite fascinating for me.
Yeah.
And I know it would be fascinating for a lot of people to hear that as well, because people, you know,
I can relate to that.
yeah, because you can look at pets and you know, and some dogs or cats or whatever, and you just know there's something different about them. Even if a person has a number of dogs or a number of cats, there'll be one that just feels very different to the rest of them, and you have a better connection on a much deeper level with that particular pet than we have with others, and things like that. I mean, these are the sort of signs that you just have a knowing, an innate knowing within yourself that there's something different going on here.
So they're coming with us, in other words, is what it boils down to.
Yeah, there's many that will. There'll be some that won't. Yeah, it's not one rule fits all. It depends on the individual journey.
I had a cat for 17 years that falls absolutely into that category of a special little being. That we had a connection. And what about the animal kingdom at large, or even the plant kingdom for that matter? Because I did hear not long ago that the animal kingdom is actually kind of fighting it out on its own level, and that what we would consider the harmful and venomous plants and animals are not going to move forward. They're kind of stuck in this whole 3D paradigm, and that's where they're going to stay. Is there any?
I'd say that's probably for the majority. You could say that applies, but what will happen with them also is they will morph into a different state of being, just like we will morph from this state of being into a different state of being as well. So will members of the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom and what have you. So because in the high state that we are ascending into, everything's feeding off light, so nothing will feed off anything, and therefore, you know, the things like fangs and things like thorns and what have you, all the old modes of protection and functionality is no longer required. So therefore, you know, the actual physical state that life is going to morph into will be vastly different. It will be, I mean, even you know, and people say, well, you just mentioned physicality. You know, how can you call ascension physicality? Well, form then.
Okay.
But of a very unique kind, and that's only one part of what we will be anyway, because we're branching off now again, but our consciousness is going to go off and do something else. It's going to create its own universe, while there's an aspect of us which will have a body form of pure energy and which will perform a different function.
Speaking of these body forms, are you aware of the term Adam Cadman? And if so, what does it mean to you?
To me, it means a superior form of physicality or form. I don't quite resonate with the label. I feel that is a label that has been given by beings who have been trying to create that themselves, rather than a more organic process. I don't know why, I'm just being honest. I just don't, the energy of that to me has a bit of a superiority connotation to it. And the beings that are involved with those processes and behind that name, like the energy behind that name, and I say to people, don't take my word for it. You feel into it and see what you get. But this is what I experience when I feel into the energy behind the name of the Adamic race, you know?
Yeah.
The Adamic races, I get that connotation, I get that energy, and because of the experiences that I've had too, I've had the experience of the beings who are more, that is more their mission, more their intentions and their agendas in life is down that path of creating that Adamic race.
I've done meditations where it's been about activating your Adam Cadman light body, and worked with that quite a bit a few years ago. So tell me more.
Okay. When it comes down to the Adam Cadman light body, what you are referring to is a 4D body as well. All right. The perspective of what the Adam Cadman or the Adamic race is all about. I'll go to the original. The original was, how were we created? And we were created by a being that is on a galactic level the manifestation of the universal consciousness in a galactic embodiment. People can get a handle on that, because the universe who is the creator of this universe, and I'm sure you are in your universe, you're the creator of your universe, we've all got our own universes happening. We participate in the life process with the beings that are inside of us, experiencing life on all different levels. We manifest ourselves in all those levels too, and we play a participatory role with the beings on that level. And we do it with, limiting our consciousness too in different ways.
Yep.
So we can not be better than them, we're one of them, But we assign ourselves, just like each being has its own journey to undertake, we have ours. And let's say, for an example, because the perspective I have here is having taken the journey, understanding how we create life, okay? So you have this being that's manifested itself on a galactic level in this galaxy, who is the embodiment of the universal consciousness. And then there's the female aspect of that too, the male and the female. And I'm sharing this, and I'm hoping that people who are listening and watching this already know that I've talked about the sun being the manifestation too, the ball in the sky out there, of the male consciousness of the universe, and the planet that we are on is the female consciousness of the universe.
I've got questions about that too.
Okay, so in the galactic drama level, the universal consciousness is playing with us in that drama, okay?
Yep.
Is in the drama with us, experiencing it too on that level, directly. And so that being came to this planet a long time ago and created the human form that we have. And it wasn't created, as the story goes, for mining gold and creating a slave race. That is totally untrue. That was what happened. There was other groups that came and took the original creation here and modified the DNA to create the slave race for their purposes. But the original human embodiment that was created here was for the purpose of creating a generic embodiment which holds all the codes in the universe, that any race from out there can then incarnate into human form, have the experiences we're going through, rebalance ourselves to the point where we can then ascend into a total balanced state of being and become a universal creator of light.
But this rolls off the tongue, isn't it?
Right, so that's the original Adam that was created, was that embodiment, and then that consciousness of that being went into the Adamic body, because it will take responsibility first. It won't create a body and then say another consciousness will go in and be that body. It created the body, it went into that body and became that humanoid form, and was the first humanoid form that walked this earth. Do you know what I'm saying? It takes responsibility for what it created.
Yeah.
And then from there, further things were created. The male and the female form were created, and then the two came together, and then more life forms were created. But it wasn't a process of the offspring mating, and because you can't do that, it creates genetic defects and what have you. So it has to do more with genetic creation of more than one being. It wasn't just two. It started with two, but then others were created after that. So the understanding of what the Adamic concept is you've got the original one, and then you've got other races who are jealous and modify the genetics of the beings here on Earth to create their version of humanity so they can control them and use them and utilise them for their purposes.
And this was done at the 4D level?
Yeah.
The human form, is it not a generic form used throughout the universe?
Humanoid.
Humanoid?
Yes. Human, Earth human, no.
Okay.
Yeah, our genetics are unique. Because if you look at the ecosystem on the planet here, all life is expressed here. This is the melting pot of the universe. Nowhere else, that's why this reality is so dense, because you've taken all the expressions of life out there and you've compressed them into one reality.
Yep.
And we experience such a dense reality because you've taken all the codes of life and you've compressed them into one living form. That's why we're called human. Q is an ancient word for God, and man actually means mind. So godly beings of godly mind.
Nice. When you look at people who have come up with new healing modalities, the person who created Reiki and the person who's come up with homeopathy and all of these things, they've come out of a personal crisis for a great extent. They've ended up in a situation where they've had to come up with their own cure. And out of that comes a whole new way of healing. So in that way it makes sense if you're going to go on and be a healer. But what is also very common among people who are on the edge of this truth movement, it's the same thing, whether it's David Icke riddled with arthritis or yourself, you've had your own health issues. There are other people that I can think of but won't name who are very, very, have either gone through and they come out the other side of extreme physical pain, disability, and that scares some of us, thinking, my God, am I going to have to go through that to that extent in order to get to the other side, or are these people kind of carrying the load for the masses in general? And I think it's a bit of that also, isn't it?
Yeah, people they're carrying the load, and also there are some people who don't have any physical ailments, but that's not to say they carried the load in the lifetime before, and we had an easier ride the lifetime before. Okay. So what a lot of people tend to do is just look at it now, and you've got to look at it as a whole. And we may have gone through some horrific and horrendous experiences previously. And so we don't have it as bad as some people have it today. But we may have it, when we do, have it worse than others that we know of. But it's becoming more apparent that there's not many people out there who've got a free ride. Very few and far between. Most of us are carrying a lot of pain and a lot of ailments, and these energetic patterns express themselves in all sorts of ways, in shapes and forms. So it's not one will cure all. It's basically just understanding your journey and your contracts and what you are. You're an ambassador of life and who you represent here, and you don't have to know that either. It's just embrace the fact that you are carrying the load, and embrace the fact that you are a hero. And you've got to give yourself a pat on the back, because charity starts at home. You just have to. It's about reclaiming your sovereignty and being proud of who you are without the pride. If you don't love yourself and honour yourself and acknowledge yourself, then how do you expect others to?
Of course. You've mentioned Project Genesis, and I know that this ties in with the GLF and whatever, but people who maybe haven't looked at your stuff, enough of your stuff yet, just know the term Project Genesis. Can you kind of give us a roundup of what Project Genesis is?
Wow. Okay. How long have we got?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Project Genesis is the re-terraforming of Mars to a point where humans can habitat that planet once again on a comfortable level. Now the reason they're doing that is because the extraterrestrial faction that is on Mars is not just on Mars, but is a part of a much greater empire. They want to try and create an environment where they can take as many Earth humans onto Mars as possible when things get really bad here really soon. And it has to do with the fact that when you are created, the body that we are in is for this reality, for this planet and this reality. So it has to do with the vibrational patterns or templates of the manifestation of our bodies in the first place. So to remove us from this planet, like I've gone, when I've travelled onto a ship, the moment you're in that ship, you're in a different vibrational reality. And so even being transferred into the ship alters the vibrations of your molecules and your cellular structures and what have you. But then to be taken to another world, when you're standing on the other world, you feel different because the very vibration of that world is different to Earth's vibration on an energetic sense. And so when I'd come back, it would take me quite a long time to recover, days and days, because I would need to then recalibrate. Even though the beams that take you, sometimes they try to recalibrate you before you get put back, it still does affect you quite a bit. So for an Earth human to be taken off-world and be taken to a planet like Mars that has its own unique vibration, and so things need to be set up, like there's an atmosphere that's on Mars again now, which there wasn't before. People go, oh, that just sounds totally crazy. Well, the probes they send there are only sent there to look at mineral compounds and not bioorganic compounds. So anyway, the fact is that there is at least 1 million Earth humans that are living there now who have gone there already. And this
voluntarily?
Most. Some not. And it has to do with finding a safe haven locally, because as I said before, vibrationally, to go to another solar system, our solar system has its own vibration. So if you get taken to another star system, not only is the planet different, but the whole star system you're in is different. So you've got a double whammy happening there. So for that particular faction or that arm of the intergalactic cabal, who have been allotted a certain amount of humans that they can continue to have rule over by their overlords, which goes intergalactic and beyond, the level of technology they have only allows them to keep them within the solar system. They don't quite yet have the ability to alter realities to the extent where they can take humans into other star systems. They'll struggle with that. Like they have some technology which create holographic realities, so they'll create fake realities with the vibrational patterns as close as they can, calibrated as close as they can to our originating patterns here. But because everything's so fluid and everything's changing so fast, the people that end up going into these holographic realities are going to find it very, very difficult. It's going to hurt. Then they'll get very ill. And I don't think they're going to last very long, personally.
You said before that, in our last talk, that 3 and 4D will cease to exist. So I just need to clarify a couple of things.
Yeah.
We live in a solar system, and all of our planets, including our sun, are in 3D. So when you say 3 and 4D will cease to exist, are you talking specifically about the Earth, and everything else in our solar system will stay as is?
Yes.
Otherwise this whole
Just
project
the
is
Earth, just the Earth domain. Yeah, a lot of people have been confused about that, and I'm sorry I may not have cleared that up at that point in time. It just means 3 and 4D will cease to exist in this reality. Just as you're ascending here, this part of you, as we are ascending, we are integrating, we're pulling up our 3 and 4Ds, and we're transmuting them into a higher state of being. Same with Mother Earth. The 3 and 4D reality will cease to exist because it's been transmuted.
The other planets are relatively unchanged.
They'll go through some changes, but nowhere near to the extent that this planet is changing.
Okay. So for people who die between now and say December 2012, or those who've recently passed, who are still in the cycle of reincarnation, will they reincarnate into a 3D reality on Mars, or what's the next story from now on if there's not going to be an Earth 3D to reincarnate on?
Well, it depends on their journey. Some will pass over and go to the 5th dimension. Some already have. I've already been in contact with beings who have done this, and when I've gone to the 5th dimension, I've seen them there, and they have passed over and already gone back to the 5th. Because remember, we took the journey down from the 5th down into the lower domains, and only through the Earth avenue were beings able to come out. That's no longer just the case. There's other planetary systems that are now being set up because this, for want of a better term, project, if you want to put it that way. Some people term it as experiment. I don't like that because it really devalues what's going on here. But this process that we've gone through here has been so successful, and it was always going to succeed. It was never not going to succeed, even though some, want to think different about that. That other planetary systems are now being set up, and a lot of beings will be taken by entities to these planetary systems, and others will incarnate onto them, and they will go through the same processes that Mother Earth has gone through. So instead of just one planetary system allowing beings to incarnate onto to find a rebalance within themselves, to pop out of the lower domains of the universe, now there'll be a whole lot of others all over the place that are being set up. And there's actually and I've run into some of the people who are here, who are the incarnations of those planets, and they are observing what's going on here because they're the ones taking on the responsibility next.
Wow.
Yeah. Because remember, we're all planets, we're all stars, we're all galaxies.
Yeah.
So a lot of those beings are here who are actually learning the process from having an incarnation on Mother Earth. So they get to see it from the inside and experience it from the inside themselves.
When you talk like this, yeah, I know, I'm having this visual, which I guess there's an analogy for me in my head, which is, here I am.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining that all of the cells in my body are beings.
Yeah, they are individual beings unto themselves. Yeah.
Who we're all participating in this journey together in order for them to experience the reality of in there.
Yeah.
And I have a grander perception, I guess. So that's the image that keeps flashing in my head. For a while there, you were worried about one of your sons.
Yeah.
Because he had this warrior kind of spirit. There's been a few men who have reacted to that in concern because they consider themselves warriors and took that to mean, oh my God, I'm not going to ascend because I'm a warrior. Can you clarify what you meant by that more so?
Sure.
Because I don't want them thinking that warrior doesn't equal ascension.
Oh, look, I still exercise my warrior when I need to. I need to be a man. And that's another thing that's really important. People don't realise how hard it is to be a man at the moment either. Because we're trying to rein in and tame certain attributes of the masculine that have been out of control or excessive for this epoch and this era we've been in, and we're integrating those masculine traits. And there's so many women that have taken those masculine traits on too, which is interesting and they will never like to admit that, but it's true. There's a lot of women who are being very masculine at the moment, and they need to realise that about themselves. And then there's a lot of men who are being too feminine. The pendulum swinging way back the other way, too far. So we're all going to try and find that balance for ourselves. So when I say I integrate with the divine feminine and I integrate my feminine aspects and all that, I'm not talking about becoming a sissy, okay? You've got to be a man. A man still needs to be a man, but an honourable man, a respectful man, and I'm still working very hard at achieving that. And when I say working hard, it's not like an arduous process. It's about just keeping it real and being respectful and honourable, you know. And I think it's very important to do that. And us men still need to be men, and women need to allow us men to be men. You know, the man. It's nice for the man to open the car door for the woman. You know, to chivalry. You know, I still think those sort of attributes are important. It's respectful. It's honouring.
As a woman, my generation, we're almost told that we're being weak.
Yeah.
By allowing men to be men.
Yeah.
And by needing men to be men.
Yeah. So the roles have been all screwed up.
Totally.
All the wires are being crossed, and all the boundaries are blurred, and everything's all. It's part of the chaotic process we're in at the moment. So women need to find their place as women again, and men need to find their place as men again, and we need to honour our masculinity. Women need to honour their femininity, and once we do that, once a woman can re-establish her femininity and a man can re-establish his masculinity, then the two just come together beautifully, because that's what they were originally made to do. They complement one another.
And this isn't talking about old stereotypes of, you know, he goes out and earns the money, and she stays home and does the housework. It's not about that. This is on a more emotional and spiritual.
Yeah, but some couples like that.
Absolutely.
And that's great for them.
Yeah.
You know, that's what they need. They're the two expressions that they need for that harmonious, you know, interlude to take place. But I see what you mean too.
Like just had this idea of women having all these visions of, you know, the
barefoot, pregnant, and working in the kitchen all day. And
great.
For some women, that's what they need to be doing, to be the woman. You know, for some people that's their journey, you know, so I can't judge that.
No, there was a phase in my life where I loved nothing more than being barefoot and pregnant.
Yeah, well there you go. You were celebrating your motherhood and your womanhood, and it's not the stereotype. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about knowing what it means to be a woman and honouring and celebrating that without all these judgmental concepts imposed upon us. So whatever a woman feels that she needs to be to honour her womanhood, why not? You know, if you want to go join some women's circles and do meditations, and why not? You know, if you want to go and take a drive out in the country and just walk around barefoot and naked and be out in the middle of nowhere and just celebrate your womanhood with Mother Earth, why not? You know, that's a great way to do it. For me as a man, I went out into the outback and stripped myself right down and fell to my knees and apologised to the feminine, you know, and tears were just bawling my eyes out, and I surrendered my ego, my male ego.
Well, what about these men's groups that do that kind of, they go into the middle of nowhere and start drumming and, you know, trying to get in touch with their masculine side? Is that, I mean, I haven't been on one of these things obviously, so I don't know what really goes on.
I haven't been on one of those either, but that's what they feel they need to do to find that. There's just so many avenues people can take. What I say is, what I recommend is don't just get caught up in one of those avenues though. Yeah. It's not the be all and end all. It's just use it as a tool in finding yourself. And when you do find yourself, you realise that the masculine and feminine are two expressions of life, and they're very important. They counterpart one another. They're two aspects of the one, and they need to be that way. And then there's people who are finding issues with blurring the lines between masculinity and femininity, and that's what they're exploring. But when someone says to me that I am, let's say they're in a male body, and they say, no, I'm it, there is no feminine aspect to me, and I'm both here in this one body, that's not right. I'm perfect the way I am now. No, you're in a male body. So the energetic charge of you is more masculine. You're trying to fight that. You're trying to, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not grasping the greater concept. They don't realise that there is a feminine aspect of them somewhere in the universe, whether it's here or somewhere else. They don't realise that there's many aspects of ourselves everywhere in reality, but they see themselves as the ego that is here in this one body is it, and they fall into that trap. Yeah.
Members of the Galactic Federation talk about the fact that they're from the Pleiades.
Yeah.
Does that mean that within the Pleiadian system there are both positive and negative?
Yep.
Simple answer. Right.
And there's beings who are posing as though they are Pleiadians. Because the Pleiadian family that I'm in contact with, or not so much lately because they all stepped back now, that was a few months ago now, I had a meeting with them in the lounge room, and they had my Pleiadian family, my Arcturian family, my Sirian family, and other groups, Eridanian family.
Sounds crowded.
It was very emotional. I bawled my eyes out, and they said, we have to leave now. And I felt really, part of me felt abandoned, because they've been with me on the journey for so long, but they needed to step back and just let me be me now. I'm on my own, and it's like a parent.
In a way it means you've grown up, doesn't it?
Yeah, on another level I took it as a compliment, because now I've gotten to the point where I just make my own stand on my own being, and all the beings of the true light, like the real true light, they've all stepped back now, and they're just leaving us be. And we've got to work our way through the labyrinth of all these other beings and entities who are here, and a lot of them are do-gooders. They think they're doing good, but they're actually interfering. And there's others who have agendas.
Why would they have stepped back? Why are they letting us do this?
Because their energy is not a match with the beings that are here, and they will be they'll be targeted by the others who are here now. And so all these other groups of the galactic family that I'm in contact with, they all know about Mother Earth becoming a star. They all know about our ascension process. They all know who we are. They all know why we're here. They all know that we are honoured and revered throughout the universe. So all these Pleiadian channelings and everything that you're reading, that I read, okay, I don't see that content, and for me that's a red flag, because I don't see them urging us to do meditations to bring our inner light out. I'm not seeing that anywhere. Maybe it's out there and I haven't come across it, but I'm not hearing it. I'm not seeing it. It's just not there. It's always use this, use a column of white light, use violet flame, everything's externalizing. So for me, you've got a whole lot of galactic beings who are basically know what's going on here, know who we all are, and then you have all these other groups that are prolific throughout the internet and the media at the moment saying something different.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm getting up and saying what I'm saying. Who's this Galactic Federation group who say the things that they're saying? So for me, it's like, look at the content of what is being said. If you feel that you want to meditate with some other being's energy and bring that in, and that's going to fix you and make you feel better, and then you end up going with them into their paradigm, right? And you're always using their energy and you're going to the energy of their paradigm, by all means go. That's your journey, that's where you want to go. You're going to explore that path, but eventually you're going to find out what's going on. Eventually. It might take a few eons and epochs and eras. Might take half an epoch. Might take just a few hours. But you're going to realise one day the path that you've taken. But we choose to live on an organic path with the universe of different paradigms to that one, to those type of paradigms.
When you've talked about bringing your own inner light out, I've been practicing this, and it's not easy.
No, it's not.
What advice, tips, techniques, anything?
In the beginning, it's not.
It's really difficult.
Yeah, because of the layers of programs. You know, don't forget also you've incarnated into a bloodline which its cells and its DNA has been programmed down through the ages. So we're not only transmitting our own stuff, we're transmuting all that energy extreme coming down through the ages into the bloodlines we've incarnated too. And we're winding all that up too. So we're doing a lot of work here. It's not just one-dimensional, you know. People got to realise just exactly how much work we're doing here. And so in the beginning, the technique I used, because I found this block that I had, I tried going in and bringing it out, it was hard. It just wasn't happening. And so I visualised myself reaching in. So my hands came here, even though they touched here, I visualised my hands going into my being, and I visualised in here like a little sun, a little mini version of the sun out there, because we've all got that. It's our Christ centre, it's our seed, and you bring the light out from there. Any colour you want. So if you say, I want a colour to protect myself, ask your being that. What is the most appropriate colour I need right now? Because people say, oh, you need the violet flame or the flaming blue sword. Well, no, that might not be appropriate for your construct right now. The way your energetic patterns are coded, you might need pink, or you might need emerald, or you might need, like emerald kundalini, you might need whatever. Whatever it is for you, because everybody's energetic patterns are coded for their own soul journey at this point in time. So what's good for me might not be good for you.
Yeah.
So it's important not to be generic about these sort of things. Find out what you need individually and feel into it. Oh, I feel like it's blue today. And what shade of blue? Oh yeah, okay, a light blue. Oh, okay, that's one where for me this colour was good today. So, bring that out, reach in there, start bringing that blue out, surround yourself, fill your body up with it, fill the room up, fill your house up, and say, okay, I'll go into yourself and say, what colour do I need to embrace my family with? What's best for them? So I'm not imposing, and you might get for that person a colour, for that person a different colour. Bring it out and share it, and that's, you're starting integrating yourselves on a deeper level too. It's wonderful.
In those moments where we really need some support, is there anybody out there that we can call on?
Yeah, what I do, and I've done this in the past, is even after I achieved these knowings, is I call on my family, my true family, and I call on them of the true light, not of the false light. And I say, whoever it is in their soul journey, in their contract, that can come and help me right now, please come.
Okay. Because
I don't want to put out requests out there for a being that's not appropriate for them to be with me. Because then, when they help me, it's not going to be of the highest order.
Yep.
It's not going to be as full. The energetic patterns of the help won't be as full as they would be, as though it's a being that's actually supposed to be helping you. So it's the wording too. It's your intention that you put out. And it's about being respectful about it. So yeah, we do get by with a little bit of help from our friends. It's not the message I'm trying to give is, yes, it's about self-empowerment, but it's not for people to feel that they're totally alone and there's nothing or no one out there that can help them. No, that's not the case. There's plenty of family that can help us out there. But it's about wording it in the right way so you get the right beings that are going to come and help you, not beings with a hidden agenda, or beings that cannot be as effective as these other ones would be.
The Council of Light that you are connected to, are they available to anybody who wants to connect with them?
Yeah.
So all of us can, if we want to?
Why not? Yeah.
How do we go about that?
I don't consciously connect with them. I don't, like I said, the words I just gave you in requesting help, I don't specifically say, oh, I want the Council of Light.
But that's who showed up?
At times they've showed up. At times it's other beings that show up.
Okay. On the subject of UFOs, there's a theory out there that has quite a few supporters, which is that UFOs are not spacecraft, whether they're ours, ETs, other dimensional or whatever. They are demons. What's your take on that?
Okay, there will be the odd... Oh, what's your definition of a demon? Crikey, here we go. Hand-or response. Yeah. All right. There are lots of real ships out there. The majority of ships that you see are Earth fleet, shadow government fleets, and they're overlords. So that I'll categorically say that UFO flat over Guatemala in Mexico was a shadow government fleet. There was like 500 or something in the sky at the same time. And that was to show how a single human mind has a capability of controlling a fleet of 500 at any one given time. It has to do with a super soldier program, which I won't get into here, and that's that'll be another time.
Okay.
So we're talking about the majority of UFOs that get seen are real. They're real ships. You get the odd hologram. Some ships, that's
So what about the demon aspect then?
the demon aspect of it. See, some ships in the higher realms of the 4D, and that if we want to manifest a ship, it becomes an extension of ourselves, and we become the ship. So the ship is then a form that, when whatever that ship does, the karma that has to do with whatever it does then comes back onto us.
Okay.
So you are that ship, and you are then responsible for everything that ship does. That's a vastly different concept to manufacturing a ship. Even light ships get manufactured. Okay, there's manufactured light ships, but the one I'm talking about is an extension of your own being. So there's many different forms. So can negative beings create a artificial light ship? Yes, they can. So I will say, to answer your question, the answer is yes. There are, because you can, from a religious point of view, all ETs are demons.
Right.
Okay. So that's why I asked before the...
No, actually not so much anymore. The Pope.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, from some. Yeah, not anymore apparently, because apparently they're all God's creatures now, and they're our brothers and sisters in God's kingdom. So according to the Vatican, yeah. So I would say that, yeah, the answer is yes. Yeah, there is truth to it. But, you know, it's important people just think every ship now is a demon. Yeah, people tend to fall into those traps, and it's not the case. And there's so much going on out there. It's never just one thing. We're in a multi-dimensional universe, and there's many aspects to whatever's going on.
One thing that I'm getting from a lot of the feedback is uncertainty that people are going to make the right choices. They want to know they're going to go through the organic process and not be tricked or not be led or in some way end up in a synthetic environment. What, if any, are there signs or symptoms in a person's life, in a person's body, that can confirm for them that they are on the path to an organic ascension process? Is there anything you can...
Yeah. I would say that they feel like they belong there. Not do they feel on a shallow level like they're heading there, but do they feel like they belong there? And I would say it's that sense of belonging that is the sign that will is really the sign that will tell you, yeah, I feel like I belong there. I feel like I've earned my right to be there. And everybody has the right to be there. Really, anybody can ascend. It's not exclusive. Having said that, there is a process at hand. Like I've said it before, there'll be beings who will be perceived as being negative at this point in time, but will end up ascending, because it's all about achieving balance. So there'll be people who feel like they are in a lot of pain at the moment, that they're spiraling a lot of negativity within their life at the moment. And that is the drama. I call it the merry-go-round of misery and drama, because I was there. I went through this process myself. And when you're in that state, you don't see things clearly. You really don't. That's the reality. And I say to those people to be patient, because something that came to me just the other day, and this is really appropriate time to share it, was I am not perfect, but I am perfect the way I am. And I want people to know that they are perfect the way they are right now, with that pain, with that misery, and it's just an energetic process that they're going through in order to rebalance themselves.
uncertainty and doubt
because
are ingrained in us. And not to trust our inner intuition, not to trust, always to trust outside. And so that we end up feeling like the world is in such a mess. The 5D just sounds almost too good to be true. Is what I'm feeling just wishful thinking and wanting out of this, or is what I'm feeling that sense of belonging, that sense of knowing that that's where I belong? So even though you say, take it from the sense of, do I really feel like I belong here? People are even going to doubt that. You know, I think it's just a process, like you said, of learning to trust.
It does depend on how deep, how many layers of doubt they have, and to get into that deeper space within where you know that you belong somewhere that's harmonious and basically just peaceful and graceful, a reality that shows those attributes of life, that are those attributes of life, rather than, because you've got the other paradigm. We've been in such a negative swing for so long, on the pendulum swing, on the negative side, or negative charge of the energy of the universe for so long. And you've got the opposing force of that is what we call positive and light. You know, so you've got negative and dark, and the opposing force of that is positive and light. And so that is now coming into play in a very strong way. But that positive and light is only the opposing force to negative and dark. It is this equal. It is not, that light sees itself as above the dark, that it's better than the dark. And then you've got this negative energy and dark sort of energy that sees itself as better than the light. So you've got these two equal opposing forces. The light that I'm referring to is above and beyond those two. You take those two energetic streams and you integrate them into one. Okay, and that energy that is infinite beyond that is the realm that I am expressing here. So the ones who come from this positive light charge here, which is the exact opposite and equal of the dark negative, they're the ones who make you feel like you must be eating these foods, doing these courses, you know, wearing white clothes or what have you. And if you're not doing all these great meditations and everything, you're not going to ascend. And then you've got, you know, that is prevalent in our societies, whether it comes through a religious avenue, a guru avenue, light and love meditations on the internet avenues, Galactic Federation avenues, you know, ETs promoting these sort of concepts, and they keep throwing it at you. It's coming at us from all these different angles, and that's that energy there. Those beings are in that paradigm there. But what I'm sharing is that life and this energy is beyond that, in much, you know, it's way beyond that.
Are there physical, I mean, we seem to be experiencing a lot of physical symptoms. Are they necessarily signs that you are on the path to ascension because your body is actually going through those changes?
Well, yeah, whether you have them or not, we're on the path. The reason, because I get a lot of physical pain still, and the reason why we're getting it is because we're processing internally vast amounts of energetic streams that we're consciously not aware of. And I've discovered in my journeys that we have many, many contracts with many races out there on many different levels. And so you may be processing an emotion that you are processing for yourself originally, but piggybacking your own energetic patterns that you're processing, energetic streams from other beings and other races out there. So we're doing the work for them as well. So we are ambassadors in this reality for those peoples. So we're carrying huge loads. That's why I say for a person who's curled up on the lounge and you know, and is in pain all the time and can't function in our society and can't go out to meditation groups, have tried different healing methods and taking different natural remedies and substances or whatever, and just can't seem to find something that's going to fix it, is because it's not something you can fix. It's something you need to work through, and you need to, and it is, I use the word need, and it is a need for understanding that people are carrying an enormous load, and I mean enormous load, And as far as I'm concerned, they're heroes.
How often do you visit the fifth dimension?
Well, it's slowed down now, because what I'm finding is my incarnation here is now, I'm integrating with it more often. So it comes down to the state of being as George now, accessing or expressing more fifth dimensional. I mean, the knowledge I'm sharing with you here is not just 3, 4D.
No.
So I'm already expressing 5D stuff right here, right now. There's parts of me that are expressing 5D. There's parts of me that are expressing 6th, 7th, 9th, 8th, 9th D, you know, beyond. Some beings pick up on it, some beings don't. So you are walking, we are walking like Greg Braden. What a beautiful man. Love the guy. His famous saying, we are walking between worlds. I love that, because we are. We are multi-dimensional beings, and we're living that. And people thinking, I've got to get to 4D, and I've got to... No, you're already there. I mean, if you go to a healer, and you're getting an energetic healing done, that's 4D.
Yes.
When you get to 5D, you don't need a healer. The concept of healing does not exist. The concept of healers does not exist. Because you're in harmony with life, nothing needs healing. Okay, so that's another thing people got to come to terms with.
That's going to put a lot of people out of work.
It does. Oh, well, I've said it before, it's become an industry. That's the reality. And it's a sad reality, but we're talking about an industry. Yeah, I don't mean to put people down by that, but they need to take a really good look at
No,
what's
I think
going
the
on.
people who are in the industry
You know.
are coming from a genuine place of wanting to heal. And
They are. Most. Some are not, and that is the reality too. But most people have good intentions.
Can you elaborate on the healing bit a bit more? Because not just for... Hang on, let me start again. I'll do the... Can you elaborate a little bit more on healing? Because we've got both people who are in need of healing, and we've got people who genuinely feel called to heal. So from both perspectives, where does that leave us if we're talking about the fact that this come down to an industry? I mean, and what, as we're changing and as we're evolving, those needs are going to change and evolve as well. So where we go?
Yeah. Some people may take it a bit harshly that I mentioned that it's become an industry. I'd just like people to take a look at it and reevaluate within themselves how they're going about it and their approach and their intentions. There are a lot of genuine, great people out there, no doubt about that. And I did mention before, the concept of healing itself is a 3 and 4D concept. 5D, there's no healing that takes place because the harmony with life is so integrated that there's nothing that needs healing.
Nothing?
No, there isn't anything that needs healing. It's just purely experiencing life in a harmonious state.
Not even in a more...
There's no aches and pains, there's none of that goes on, because you're flowing in that river of life completely. It's a different state of being.
Well, yeah, it must be.
It is.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And so the concept of requiring healing are 3 and 4D concepts. And when we are in need of healing, we're transmuting an energy or healing an energetic charge, which is a 3 or 4D energetic charge. People have been feeling that they need to help heal people as well, naturally inside of them. And they're playing this wonderful, nurturing 4D aspect of themselves. And these are all the different concepts. Like once you've travelled to the 5th dimension, once you reintegrate with it, then you begin to understand the difference between the two vibrational patterns. It becomes quite obvious and apparent. And the more and more people, there's many people out there already understand what I'm saying, and there's others who will soon understand it quite quickly as well. And especially listening to this, they'll just contemplate it. Just contemplate the fact that if you're in a completely harmonious state of being and you're a one with life, then there isn't anything that needs healing. It's just common sense, really. It does make sense. It does make sense. If things need healing, then It's the charges of duality in an intense state of being, which is 3 and 4D expressions.
So from 5D, will we understand and know all of our past lives?
Yeah.
And our journey, our whole purpose?
And every aspect you have in 3 and 4D paradigm still. The whole lot, everything, you will know everything. The vastness of the cosmos, you connect to all of that. And you know wherever you put your attention, you'll know everything.
It sounds like such a leap from where we're at now.
It is, because we've been pushed down so far. It's because we're being funneled, squeezed on this road to compression. Remember, from the cosmos to one galaxy to star systems to a planetary body, it's this road to compression. Because it took the journey of separation, bringing it back into oneness, and you're reintegrating all that separation. So it's being squeezed and squeezed and squeezed into what we call 0 point, and then you pop out the other side, and you birth into a universal creator. That's the path.
It's like an hourglass.
Yeah, it's kind of like an hourglass. Yeah.
Popping out the other side.
Yeah, well, it's birthing out the birthing canal, and that's what Mother Earth is the womb of the mother, and the galaxies, the Milky Way galaxies, the galactic womb, and now we're on the planetary womb, and we're about to birth.
Yeah, I know people, especially women right now, who, talking about birthing, putting on weight. 5 kilos seems to be the magic number. People
just
putting
like
on 5 kilos, just like that. And it's always 5 kilos. It's not 10, it's not 3. And,
I can attest to
it's
that.
all here. Yeah.
That's right. I got my little bit of belly happening too, so yeah.
And women telling me they feel like they're about to give birth.
Yeah.
And
wow. That's really profound. Like that, what you just said there, I felt it. And knowing what the Divine Feminine is going through, and I know there's women that don't like men speaking on their behalf. I hope they get past that resentment. I'm really trying hard to, in my life I've worked very, very hard to integrate with the Divine Feminine and to understand what's going on, and I stand up for her and I'll defend her, and I do. And I do have a bit of an idea about the feminine. Not a lot, but I do have some idea. A lot more than what I used to. A lot more than what I used to. So, I've stood up publicly, said she's my hero, and she is, and continues to be so. And so the prospect of women feeling like they're giving birth, they're already having phantom birthing experiences, to me is spot on. It just sits in my heart wonderfully, because the Divine Feminine is about to give birth. So if multitudes of women are feeling these strange phantom aches and pains, that's perfect. That to me is spot on. Yeah, absolute. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
love it. Love to hear it. You're all heroes, really, because we don't have that power of creation like the woman does, and that's what men need to come to terms with, and understand the feminine and our own counterparts, because the feminine is us, but it's our counterpart expression of our oneness, of our one being, of our unified, sanctified self. So, we're still one being, but we're two different expressions of that one being.
And what about 5D? People are very anxious. They want to get there. They want a glimpse.
But they're already
I know.
there. That's the bit.
I get that, but in terms of having a conscious kind of, you've gone there in the sense of it felt like a visit.
Yeah, that's right. I have. Yeah.
Most of us haven't done that.
Yeah, I understand.
But is there any way that we can facilitate an experience like that?
Not if it's not your journey. Like, your lower ego wants it to happen. There's a lot of things that George wanted to make happen, but they never happened. And I got frustrated, and and I felt all that. And then I came to realise that I can't make it happen because it's not supposed to happen. It's not in my journey for it to happen. So I say to people, just give it a go, and if it doesn't work, just let it go. Let it be, and accept that it's not your journey. People are aching to see a spaceship. I've got friends who have studied ufology for 20 years. They've never had a single sighting themselves. They've never seen any evidence for themselves. All they do is read other people's experiences, and it's frustrated the hell out of these people, right? And they were just in front of me. They just, George, please bring a ship down, let us see. Mate, I just can't do it. It doesn't work like that for me. For some people it does. For me it doesn't work like that. I'd rather just flow in the river of life, and when it happens, it happens. I just don't operate that way.
This actually brings me on to something that I wasn't.
It's about acceptance. Sorry, just to finish that. It's about self-acceptance. It's better for the people just to accept that that's the journey they've chosen for themselves. And that's where they're at right now. And when you can do that, you find peace with it. And then maybe it'll start to happen.
Is there any way of mistaking an organic doorway and a technological stargate?
For the 99.999% of the people, no. For that tiny fraction, yes. Because it is their journey to make that mistake.
Okay. So, in other words, there is no mistake anyway.
Ultimately, there is no such thing as a mistake. But it's the journey to experience the difference between a false opening and a true organic opening. Like a wormhole type structured setup. Instead of just a natural organic opening into a high plane in the universe, that's quite different.
People have connected with me and contacted me in a state of fear over the idea of making a mistake. And worried that I'm going to fall for some stargate instead of going through that.
No, the knowing will be so overwhelming. It'll be just so complete, so through and through. People really shouldn't have anything to be concerned about. It will be, and the initial stages will be sometimes the parents will be in doubt, then they're holding a child which is like 2 weeks old or 6 months old, and that child will have such a strong connection with them. In the beginning they'll freak out that the child is telling them where to go and what to do, and it won't be telepathic, it'll be heart consciousness connection. And then after a while they'll get to the point where they'll just know as well. So things like that will occur. The children will help steer the parents. That'll happen quite a lot.
Do you see these doorways starting to open up this year?
Right towards the end of the year. I would say at the very, very end of October, early November, they'll begin to open. There'll be some people that'll start walking through them. Not before then.
And what happens from everybody else's perspective? These people just disappear?
Okay. I've already experienced, already had a future experience with this, where I was in front of my sister, and I said to her, it's time for me to go to Avalon. I have to go now. And what I did was I just blended from this reality, and I felt myself going into Avalon, into the higher domains. And I remember seeing through the veil between the two realms and seeing my sister's face and the expression that she experienced in that moment. Other people have had other experiences, in relation to this sort of thing. So, and it wasn't a dream, okay? And it wasn't a manipulated dream, and it wasn't taken on board a craft and the experience that was implanted into me. It wasn't that. It was organic in nature. And people can say also that it's a possible outcome. Yeah, I'll agree with that. But I've had already experiences of that vibration, that flavour that I had prior, and those events have already manifested.
Right.
I've had others that felt a little bit different and didn't manifest, which and the way my ego was then, I thought was going to be the future, but didn't turn out to be the future. So the real future experiences you have down the timeline have a particular flavour to them.
Okay.
So I can identify between them now, because I'm still having some probable future experiences, and then ones that I just know are actually what's going to take place. And so we're going to be able to bilocate around the planet. And
After going into 5D or prior?
yeah.
No, after.
After. Yeah. When we come back out, we'll be able to bilocate from one place to another.
What?
And that's the law of attraction.
Yeah.
That's how we traverse the universe. That's how, when we manifest a craft, a ship, which is an extension of our own being, our own light manifests that craft, and all the beings that are with it, what we do, all you do is you put your attention, you know, like, as where your journey is flowing, that you're meant to be in that part of the universe. And you put your attention and your awareness there, and you just disappear from that and reappear in that part of the universe instantaneously. And that's the propulsion system, so to speak, is the law of attraction. I mean, we've all incarnated, that's what gravity is, right?
Yeah.
Gravity, we've all incarnated here on Earth because our souls gravitated to here because it was the law of attraction. We were attracted here because the vibration here is what called our souls
Yes.
to come and incarnate. It's the law of attraction.
So what do you want people to know about this year, 2011? What do you feel is coming up? Or coming down, for that matter?
Yeah. This is the year, I know this is the year that we inform humanity. Give humanity that broader perspective, give them another choice to make. The general public of humanity. There are those of us who are here to play a role in that. I'm one of them, you're one of them, there's many you are here on the planet to do that. So this is the year we will inform humanity. Another thing that's going to take place is, and that's the removing of the veil for the greater population of the planet. And there will be a revealing of extraterrestrial life in an official capacity of some sort, whether it's a disclosure, whether it happens in some sort of other avenue through, like what Aaron suggested, and what another warrior of light, what a great man, what Aaron suggested in the the Festival of Enlightenment, where they do it through that avenue.
What does that mean?
Oh, the Festival of Enlightenment. I didn't know you weren't aware of what Aaron's released recently to do with. There's a very large festival that's being organised for the middle of the year in June, and there's going to be, I think, around 50,000 people present at that festival, and there's a lot of people of notoriety and famous speakers who are involved in this. And behind the scenes talk is that two or maybe more craft will appear in that moment because they want to get all the starseeds who will be there to, and all kudos to really Aaron for having the courage to stand up and say that, because he was being recruited as one of the people to lead the starseeds in manifesting this to happen. And what's fascinating about that is they want to come in through the back door by doing that, you see, because if they just appear, then they're breaking universal law. But if they get all the starseeds in that to want it to happen, then they override universal law that way, because then it's the will of the people.
So when you're talking about the presence of ETs, you're talking about part of the negative agenda.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm talking false light.
Right.
I'm talking that lower light as well. We can get technical here about it. There's the lower light, and then there's the false light, but that'll just confuse people too much. So we're just talking about a lower light. Let's leave it that way. Yeah.
So are there beings out there who have our best interests at heart, and who are of the true light, and who are likely to show up in ships or not? Is that, if the ship shows up, that's not who they are?
I would say, that makes it difficult. Okay. There is the very few, like the most teeniest percentage of some people that are going home with their galactic family as we speak. So when those beings turn up, it's not, the beings don't say we are this and we are that, and no. The moment they're there, everybody knows who's who and what's what. There's, like, you walked in the room, hey Lisa, how you going? There's not, I'm Lisa Harrison, I'm so, There was none of that, was there?
No.
I'm George, we knew, right? And so that's the way it is. It's, you know instantly when they turn up who's who and what's what. No one has to say anything. No one has to prove anything. So they don't have to remind you, you instantly know. So there's people who are going home with their true galactic families now. They're already leaving the Earth because it's not their path to ascend, and their genetic embodiment is so important to their home race and other races whose energetic streams are running through their bodies. They've got contracts with. So, excuse me.
So that process has already started?
It's already been going on for a while. There are people already leaving, and there'll be more that will leave. But I would say 99.999999999% of all the ships going over there, because it's like peak hour out there really, are either of the shadow government or the ETs of the lower light.
That's disheartening for a lot of people. They're hoping for some kind of...
That's because they're externalising. Yeah. No, you save yourself. That's it. You've got the inner light. You've got the power within. That's why they've all stepped back. Remember, I said my galactic family came and they said we've got to stand back now, and I cried, and they, expressed tears, because there's 3 and 4D ETs that I've been in contact with of the true light. These are people who know what's going on. The majority of them know. This is what we've been exposed to here is a small, tiny fraction of cosmic life on a galactic and beyond level, the ET level. It's a drop in the ocean. These are just guys who are caught up in a paradigm who don't know what's really going on here. Everybody else does. I mean, when you left your planetary system and your home star system to come and incarnate on Earth, it was a huge festival and celebration and honouring of the courage of these beings who were leaving there to come to Earth to incarnate representing their peoples. I mean, think of it, just for a moment, just the memory of that. People will remember that too. It's very emotional. I've gone through all this process personally already. It's very emotional, all that honouring, all that celebration that took place, and the processes of who was going to be the beings that represented their peoples on Earth, this melting pot of the universe. It's enormous.
So in 2011 there's possibly disclosure.
Yeah.
What about...
the public awareness, probably the best way, a better way to word it would be, not the best way, but a better way, just the public awareness of extraterrestrial life, no longer hidden from view. It will be made publicly aware. Yeah, because they need to win the minds and the hearts of the people.
Yeah.
So they can then steer humanity, because humanity is being steered in a particular direction. All the technology that we're using, all these cameras and internet, computers and everything, it's all designed to steer humanity in a particular direction. We've got this kind of technology on the planet. We don't have other kinds of technology, so why this technology? Now that's what people need to ask as well. What is it about this kind of technology? Silicon-based technology, silica-based technology. All right, so why? And then you realise we're being steered in a particular direction, and that's what these beings want to do. They want to steer us off course. They don't want us to go through this organic, natural process of ascension with Mother Earth.
Well, they can only take so many with them, surely.
Yeah, they'll take a fair few, unfortunately. Close to half the world's population will go. That's what I feel. I'm not saying it's an absolute fact. I've felt it for years and it hasn't changed. That feeling has not changed. That roughly half the world's population. So in a way, everybody wins. The GFL wins, we win, everybody wins. They get some of us,
what they want.
some of us ascend. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a weird perspective, but everybody wins. I know it sounds weird, but
no,
yeah, it was just something I contemplated the other day. And it's like, yeah, everybody wins in a way, don't they? They'll claim their victory and we'll claim our victory and everybody wins. It's weird, but it kind of makes sense, yeah. So about I feel about a third of the population of the planet will ascend with Mother Earth, which is a lot. There's 2 billion people.
So up to half leave.
Yeah.
A third.
Say about 3 billion, thereabouts, leave, or give and take a bit. Yep, say about 2 give and take a bit ascend, and the rest will end up, some will go with their galactic family, and the rest will be the group that actually end up perishing in a lot of the changes and disasters that will take place, which is not that many relative to it's a lot of people, but nowhere near as many as what some people are saying or think or feel, that, there's going to be a lot of death and destruction. Well, it's not.
Well, some people are still on the idea that unless you're on the mountain peak in Tibet, you aren't surviving.
Yeah. No, nothing. This whole reality is deconstruction. The whole of Earth's crust is going, so anyone left out here won't survive anyway. So, we've all got to go through these organic openings into that higher dimensional existence. So we're then safe from all the changes, from Mother Earth needing to cleanse herself of these lower aspects of herself.
It's like we're all on timelines, I guess, in the sense of, for those people who feel really, really strongly about cataclysmic earth changes and about how to survive those, is it because that literally is their timeline, their future?
Yeah.
They will be here when...
Exactly, and there's people who say what George says is, I don't feel it, it's not going to happen. Well, they're not going to experience it.
Yeah.
See? So that's why they're not connecting with it. I'm going to be going in and out of these doorways, so I'm going to be here right through the end. I'll be one of the last that go through right at the end.
People are living a little bit more day to day, a little more in the moment, and I'm certainly finding that in my own life. I can only deal with what's pretty much right in front of me.
That's right.
And I've stopped resisting that, which is making things a lot easier. But yeah, is there anything you want people to know about what to expect this year, and how to go and how to be with it?
What I'd like to say is, I'm not perfect, but I'm perfect the way I am. And I urge everybody to say that about themselves, because none of us are perfect, but we're all perfect the way we are. And once you contemplate that and process that on a much deeper level, the essence of accepting ourselves for who we are right now, the way we are right now, is one of the major golden keys to finding equilibrium, centeredness and peace within. You are loved, honoured and revered the way you are right now, with all your faults and all your pain and all your suffering and all your fears and insecurities. Perfect. Once you can do that, the healing begins rapidly. The fears, the insecurities just dissipate, dissolve. Your change begins quite immense, because what you've mended first is the internal divide. We keep going to healers, remove this entity, heal that wound, but the internal divide still remains. So mend the internal divide first, then everything's like a domino effect. So yeah, very profound.
Do you have any techniques, tools that you use that you can share that in order to support people on their journey? Because everyone's sort of...
Yeah, there's so many. My suggestion is to keep it simple. I just meditate whenever I feel like it. I don't say I must meditate, and when I meditate, sometimes it's for 3 seconds. Truly, I'll just sit there and just bring my inner light out. I'm tingling now, I've done it, that's better. Get on with life, because that reaching in just overrides the mental block of bringing the inner light out. So that's what I recommend to begin with. If you can't sit there and do it just with your mind, just pull it out physically, and then you get to the point where you can find it easier and easier and easier to do it with your own mind, and then it just happens so easily. You walk through a shopping centre and you just see yourself just shining like the sun from inside out, because that's what we're doing, turning inside out.
Yeah.
And that's what Mother Earth is doing, hence the crust has to go. So let's keep it simple, and each person can find their own little way. I'm just giving you the way I do it. I'm not saying people got to do what I do. This is just what worked for me. But honouring yourself, and the other block that we have about bringing our inner light out comes down to worthiness.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we've been programmed to feel unworthy and that we're not of any value, that we're just a lowly human, which is, and we need mentoring and we need guidance and we need healing, and these are all the false pieces of propaganda that is continually imposed into the psyche of the human race. Yeah. And in reality, we are godly beings of godly mind.
Well, as far as content goes, you've left me with an awful lot to digest and think about. And just as a passing, is there anything else you want to say to the people watching this video?
I would love to say to believe in yourselves, because the rest of the universe believes in you. It's what we're experiencing here is just such a small fraction of what's going on a cosmic level, of beings that are here to manipulate, to mislead and misguide, and beings of the lower paradigms that are here. Because there's beings of the lower paradigms who are of the true light, if that people can grasp that concept. There's a whole multitude of life. It's such a small percentage that we're experiencing, that we're being exposed to at the moment. And the information and the knowledge that's being disseminated on the planet at the moment is coming from within that tiny paradigm. Life is so much grander than what you are being exposed to. The concept of what life is that you're being exposed to at the moment is so tiny. So once you get through this phase of the expression of our ability to maintain centre through these challenging times, I'll say it again, it's the beauty and the grace of the opening of a flower amidst the wilderness of chaos. And just the other day I got this magnificent message from my greater being, and it was, my immortal self is now demanding my immortality. My eternal self is now demanding my eternity, and my infinite self now demands my infinity.
Wow.
And that was really profound. That really touched me when I got that.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a while. I had to pace the room because the energy was so deep. Because I didn't just get that on an intellectual level. When I get these, it's energy that comes from the core of my being out. And that's what's happening to us now. Our immortal selves are now demanding our immortality. It's time. And so reach into your immortal self, reach into your eternal self, reach into your infinite self, and bring that out and live it and express it, because that's what you are. And know, because there's another piece of wisdom that came from my greater being, and we've all got this, it's not just me, was it is essential to know that we exist beyond this earthly incarnation. But it is absolutely imperative to know that nothing, and I mean nothing, exists beyond your infinite and eternal self. So if you can just contemplate that and grasp the concept that nothing exists beyond you and nothing exists beyond me, that we are the all and not some collective hive mind God construct matrix that we've all spawned out of. That is the deadly deception.
Agreed. Thank you.
You're ever so welcome. Thank you.
It's been amazing.
Thank you.